This is the OTB Television Network.
Hello and welcome to this very special international edition of Horses and Courses. I'm Jean Wood. We have gathered up some international racing going back to the beginning of June. We're going to be visiting a number of different countries, and we're going to start back in early June at Sha Tin. We're going to take a look now at the Hong Kong Jockey Club's running of the Hong Kong Champion Charter Cup.
And the gates crash back. They're off and racing. And Saturn in the centre of the course got the best of the start. Viva Macau, though, jumped best, and for the moment, Viva Macau just leads from Saturn. Bullish Luck out of the gates nicely into third, and Vengeance of Rain will just drop in right on the back of the speed. Getting a little bit keen, Vengeance of Rain. Followed then by Hail the Storm, probing along the fence on the inside of Viva Pataka, and Agility is snagged back to the tail of the field. Danny Nikolic allows Saturn his head now and just runs a little bit going to the post the first time. Danny just trying to steady the tempo a bit as Saturn's going pretty briskly as they turn out of the straight with a 3-length margin on Viva Macau. Bullish Luck will have to do it without cover as Vengeance of Rain holds that vital position fourth on the fence as they turn out of the straight. Viva Pataka is going to track Vengeance of Rain for the time being. Two further back in the race to Hail the Storm, and Agility moves up on the outside into a clear rearward position. As they work to the back, and it's Saturn maintaining a 4-length lead from Viva Macau. 3 lengths off to Bullish Luck, striding into a clear third now as Delpesh just took a tug on Vengeance of Rain back to fourth. Viva Pataka is 2 lengths behind him. From Agility travelling fairly strongly, and Hail the Storm sees them all as they work down the back of the course now. They've got 1,300 metres to run, and Saturn with his great staying record at the 1,200 leads out by 2.5 to Viva Macau. 3 lengths further back to Bullish Luck, then Vengeance of Rain fourth. 2 after Viva Pataka is fairly switched off for Canaan, then Agility, and now Hail the Storm's being ridden up at the tail of the field. Working to the back corner now, and Saturn maintaining a strong pace. It's Saturn 4 lengths clear from Viva Macau. Vengeance of Rain's now probing up on the inside of Bullish Luck, with Viva Pataka still sitting for the time being. 3 lengths further back to Agility, and Hail the Storm is under the whip and not travelling well as they race to the final bend. And Saturn is being nursed along at the 600 metres. 3 lengths clear from Viva Macau. Bullish Luck being scrubbed up in third from Vengeance of Rain. Delpesh starts to feel for him as he comes one off the fence, and Canan's going to track him into the race now, and Viva Pataka well into the straight. It's Saturn 1.5 lengths clear from Vengeance of Rain, the first to throw down the challenge. Viva Pataka's matching in though. Here comes the 2 great stayers, Viva Pataka and Vengeance of Rain. Pataka's got his head in front, a neck in front. Viva Pataka's drawn clear in the Champions and Chater. Vengeance of Rain can't answer the question. Viva Macau's going into third, but Viva Pataka, Mick Canan does it again. Viva Pataka bolts up in the cup from Vengeance of Rain.
In this $1 million Group 1 event, it's Viva Pataka once again getting the advantage over Vengeance of Rain, with Viva Macau back in the third spot in a very nice effort. Yet another outstanding performance by Viva Pataka, this time overgoing labeled good to firm. The winner, Viva Pataka, is a son of Marjou out of Comic, and he just continues to get better and better for connections here that have done so well with him throughout the course of a fairly long career. Once again, ridden to victory by Mick Canan, Viva Pataka covers the 1.5 miles on the turf at Sha Tin in new course record time, 2:24 and 3. We're going to head to Asia once again, the beginning of June. This time Tokyo Racecourse and the Yasuda Kinnan. We're going to head over and take a look at this $1.8 million 1 mile event. Again, I want to remind you that all of the distances here are about distances, as the international margins and so forth are done in meters, but the about distance of a mile on the turf course at Tokyo, the Yasuda Kinnan.
Ready now, gates are back, beautiful start, they got away as one. Flying in the middle, Asian Dover. Daiwa Major commenced nicely. Minor Skirtsy's up there with Congo Rikisho, the expected leader. Daiwa Major tracks second. Along the fence, Sakura Megawanda. Just in there is Minor Skirtsy, moving up quickly from the outside gate is Able One to move into second. Tackling up there with Congo Rikisho. Minor Skirtsy runs third. In fourth place, Daiwa Major. Moving up out wide, Jolly Dance. Kiss to Heaven is in there with Sakura Megawanda. One locked away in the middle is Good Baba. Just a gap back to Admire Kiss. Then Asian Dover. Out wide is Simply Escape. Moving forward now is Orawa Mataruze. A gap further back on the inside is the Duke. Then Suzuka Phoenix. Back further then to Dia Delanovia. Outside Dia Delanova is Joyful Winner. Well back at the moment. Air Shady is well back with Super Hornet. At the 750-metre mark, leading the way is Congo Rikisho. Able One runs second. In third is Minor Skirtsy. Back on the fence, Daiwa Major. Jolly Dance is just in behind them. A further gap running on now. Air Shady, Simply Escape. Oriwa Mataruze pulls out along with Dia Delanovia. At the 400-metre mark, it's Congo Rikisho starting to shorten stride. Pulling up along the outside is Minor Skirtsy. Daiwa Major is there. Jolly Dance as well. Not far away is Dia Delanovia. And out wide, Super Hornet rattling home with Joyful Winner. It's a line across the track. It's going to be a tight finish. Daiwa Major up along the fence. Congo Rikisho kicks on. Congo Rikisho and Daiwa Major. Daiwa Major puts his head in front. Jolly Dance got third. Just beat. Daiwa Major just beat Congo Rikisho.
Daiwa Major, another outstanding middle distance horse from Asia, and it sure would be wonderful to see more international racing involving some of the Europeans, the Americans, and the Asians taking on things like the mile and the turf, because they really have done a wonderful job developing a mile division in Asia, and Daiwa Major has really become an outstanding horse now at the age of 6, a son of Sunday Silence from Scarlet Bouquet, picking up a very impressive victory here. Daiwa Major was bred by the Shadai Farm and is owned by Keizo Oshiro. Trained by Hiroyuki Uehara and ridden to victory by Katsumi Ando. Daiwa Major picks up the win over Congo Rikisho and Jolly Dance in the about distance of 1 mile, 1:32 and 3. We're going to head to Hanshin now, and once again we're heading back into June, this time June 24th, and the running of the Takarazuka Kennen, a Group 1, $2.4 million, mile and 3/8 the distance. We're going to join the race in progress. Let's head now to Hanshin.
Back on the fence to Tokai Trick. Inti Raimi stuck out 4 wide is Meisho Samson. A gap of 2 lengths further back to Admire Moon. Inside Maya Moon is Pop Rock. Then comes Admire Fuji, Fast Tateyama, Swift Current, and Makihata Cyborg is last. They start to bunch up at the 600 metres mark. Lohengrin is gone. Shadowgate goes to lead. Outside is Kawakami Princess. Even wider is Meisho Samson. Just in behind them, running on is Admire Moon. They get to the top of the straight. Anyone's race. Numerous chances. And here's Vodka along the inside. Along the middle is Meisho Samson. Vodka is there. Kawakami Princess and Admire Moon. Admire Moon and Meisho Samson locking barrel. It's Meisho Samson. Admire Moon goes to the lead and kicks away. Admire Moon. Meisho Samson. Pop Rock late on the scene with Maya Fuji out wide. Fast Tateyama. Then comes Kawakami Princess. Inti Raimi.
Admire Moon, another one who has really developed into an outstanding Asian distance runner here at the age of 4. Admire Moon picks up the victory over Meisho Samson. And Pop Rock, a horse that we'd seen on a couple of previous editions of the International Horses and Courses, picking up the 3rd spot. Admire Moon is a 4-year-old bay colt, a son of N Sweep from My Katie's by Sunday Silence, bred by the Northern Farm in Japan. He is owned by Riichi Kondo, trained by Hiroyoshi Matsuda, and ridden to victory by Yasunari Iwata. Admire Moon covers the about distance of 1 mile and 3/8 on the turf course at Tokyo in 2:12 and 4. We're going to leave Asia and we're going to head now to Europe, and we'll begin our Irish swing at the Curragh. Of course, this late June, early July, a tremendous meet at the Curragh, highlighted by a number of major Group 1s. We're going to begin with the Audi Pretty Polly Stakes. This a Group 1 event for fillies and mares at the about distance of 1.25 miles. We'll join the Pretty Polly in progress.
just about to make the descent now past the 5, and down the hill they come towards the straight in the Audi Pretty Polly Stake, Group 1 event, and it's Speciosa, Mickey Fenton showing the way. Truly Mine with West Wind on the inside. Then comes Tamawa, close up on the outside with on the inside is Peeping Fawn with Dementicata next as they race now towards the turn in. Speciosa, Truly Mine, Tamawa, West Wind. Then comes Peeping Fawn as they straighten up for home now and begin to race over towards the near side, and Speciosa from Truly Mine. After them is West Wind and Tamawa on the outside, racing down now towards the final furlong and a half. Speciosa still in front. Now West Wind and Tamawa, and Peeping Fawn gets into gear the outside. Racing now inside the last 200, and Speciosa pressed by Peeping Fawn on the near side, and Peeping Fawn now comes to join Speciosa. West Wind in third, and then comes Tamawa, and Peeping Fawn has raced right up to win it for Kieran Fallon. In second, Speciosa. Third home is West Wind. Tamawa is fourth.
Peeping Fawn, a filly who was second to the Oaks at Epsom earlier in the season, picking up the victory here over Speciosa with West Wind back in the third spot. She held up in the early going, made a nice bit of a bid from about the 6th spot to pick up the win, inside the lead rather, inside the final furlong, running on strongly for Aidan O'Brien under rider Kieran Fallon. Peeping Fawn covers the 1.25 miles, the about distance at the Curragh, in 2:10 and 3. We're going to continue now with racing action from the Curragh with the Railway Stakes. This a Group 2 event for the 2-year-olds at the about distance of 6 furlongs. Let's return to the Curragh and the Railway Stakes.
They're all in commentary.
They're off as they break away and begin the run in the early stages. Moving up on the far side to dispute the lead is Lizard Island, who's just showing the way to Irish Jig, with towards the near side Another Express, being followed by South Dakota. As they race now towards the end of the first furlong, it's Lizard Island who's just showing the way. Irish Jig tracked on the far side by Another Express, and just tucked in is South Dakota. The 4 runners now make their way on towards the halfway point, where Lizard Island and Shamie Heffernan lead, being followed by Irish Jig on the far side for Johnny Murtha. And then comes Another Express, Wayne Lorton, with South Dakota just the back marker of the quartet. Beginning the run on now outside the 2, and Lizard Island is the leader, being followed by Irish Jig, and then comes Another Express, and the back marker of the quartet, South Dakota now, as Lizard Island moves on a couple of lengths clear as they begin the run now inside the final furlong. It's Lizard Island who's out in front, South Dakota on the outside of Irish Jig, and then Another Express, but Lizard Island from South Dakota as they run towards the finish. It's got to be a 1-2 for Aidan O'Brien as Lizard Island wins from South Dakota.
Lizard Island, a very interesting looking young 2-year-old, pulling up off the upset here over his perhaps more favored stablemate South Dakota, both of them coming from the Aidan O'Brien yard, with Irish Jig back in the 3rd spot. Very nice effort by Lizard Island on the front end, clearly relishing the soft to heavy going, which perhaps was the undoing of South Dakota in this early 2-year-old stake. Ridden by Seamus Heffernan for Aidan O'Brien, Lizard Island covers the 6 furlongs in, again, on that heavy surface in 1:18 and 3. We're going to head right back to the Curragh now in the Irish Derby, of course, sponsored by Budweiser, a Grade 1 event, or Group 1 event for $2 million. Let's head back to the Curragh and the Derby.
The 5-to-1 winner at Uttoxeter. They've just jumped off for the Irish Derby of 2007. On the off, the favourite, of course, Eagle Mountain at 6-4.
Settles in third, and then comes Mooreswell showing just 4th on the outside of Soldier of Fortune. Al Shamali comes next in company on the outside, Royal and Regal, and these are being followed by Prince Eric with Eagle Mountain, and Shamdanan and Striving Storm, the final pair. But up front now, Spanish Harlem has been taken to the front by Franberry to lead by a length and a half to Bosco Bell in second. A break of 2.5 lengths then to Alexander of Hales. who's just third ahead of Moores Wells. In fifth place is Soldier of Fortune. Then comes Royal and Regal, El Shamali, Eagle Mountain, the final three, Prince Eric, Shamdanan and Striving Storm. They've got a mile to go now in the Derby, and it is Spanish Harlem and Fran Berry who leads. From Bosco Bell in second, Joe Fanning, Alexander of Hales, Michael Canaan on the inside of Moores Wells and Declan McDonough. They're being followed by Soldier of Fortune, Shamie Heffernan. Then comes Royal and Regal with Johnny Murtha in mid-division, being followed by El Shamali, Ryan Moore. Then comes Eagle Mountain, Kieran Fallon, Prince Eric and Pat Smullen, Shamden and Christophe Soumian, Striving Storm, Eddie Ahern. They pass the six, and they're nicely strung out now as they make the descent down towards the straight. Spanish Harlem the leader, Bosco Bell in second, then Alexander of Hales and Moores Wells, Soldier of Fortune being followed by Royal and Regal, then Eagle Mountain and El Shamali. As they make the approach to the straight now with just over half a mile to go. Spanish Harlem leads, Bosco Bell moving up on the outside. Alexander of Hales is third, Moores Wells on their heels in fourth. Then comes Soldier of Fortune with Royal and Regal. Eagle Mountain picking up on the outside as they round the turn and swing into the straight for the Derby, and Bosco Bell and Joe Fanning pick it up from Moores Wells. Coming there for Declan McDonough, Soldier of Fortune, Shamie Heffernan on the outside. Then comes Eagle Mountain. Soldier of Fortune hits the front for Shamie Heffernan. From Eagle Mountain on the outside, Kieran Fallon. Bosco Bell is third. They're racing towards the final furlong in the Derby, and Soldier of Fortune and Shamie Heffernan have raced clear of the favourite Eagle Mountain. It's going to be a one-horse Derby, and Shamie Heffernan is going to have his greatest day in racing as they race up to the finish, and Aidan O'Brien wins his fifth Derby in tremendous style. He's also got second and third Alexander Hales and Eagle Mountain, Bosco Bell, Moores Wells, Prince Eric, El Shamali, Royal and Regal, Shamdaman, and then Spanish Harlem with Striving Storm last to finish.
Soldier of Fortune, another one of those horses who had been so solid throughout most of this early spring. Again, going to pick up yet another nice, impressive victory for that Aidan O'Brien yard. This one at 5-1 after tracking the leaders from the fifth spot, getting into the running at about the head of the stretch, leading about 2 furlongs out for Seamus Heffernan. A very strong victory for him over Alexander of Hales, with Eagle Mountain rallying from about the 8th spot into the 3rd place. Budweiser Irish Derby winner Soldier of Fortune completes the about distance of 1.5 miles at the Curragh in 2:36 flat. We're going to head right back to the Curragh now, and the Irish Oaks, also a Group 1, of course, this one for the 3-year-old fillies. The distance here about 1.5 miles. We'll return to the Curragh and the Oaks.
Dolly Irish Oaks, and they're off. And breaking away smartly on the inside to take them along down the far side is Four Sins, who's gone straight in the lead, being followed by All My Loving and Profound Beauty. Tamarwa tracks them in 4th place, and then Light Shift with Gaudiamas. Akron is next, being followed by Peeping Fawn. Athenian Way comes next, and then Iverahane, Von Owen, and Maid of Lorne is the back marker. Racing on down the far side now, and it's Four Sins and Fran Berry who leads. All My Loving, Shamie Heffernan. Athenian Way improving on the outside for Niall McCullough to race up within half a length of the lead. 4th place is Profound Beauty and Pat Smullen, and then comes Tamarwa, Michael Canaan, being followed by Light Shift and Ted Durkin, and then Akron and Declan McDonough, Gaudiamas, Kevin Manning, and then comes Peeping Fawn, Johnny Murtha. Break of a few lengths to Iverahane, Colm O'Donoghue and Bono and Denny Grant. Maid of Lorne, Pat Shannon, the back marker. They're beginning to make the climb up the far side to the 7, and it's still Four Sins who leads. Stable companion Athenian Way. In 3rd place is All My Loving, being followed by Profound Beauty, Tamarwa, Light Shift. Akron is next with Peeping Fawn and Gaudiamas, and then there's a clear break to Iverahane, Bono and Maid of Lorne. They race now to the top of the hill. Four Sins, Athenian Way, All My Loving on the inside, a close 4th, Profound Beauty, Tamarwa and Light Light Shift next, and then Peeping Fawn, Akran and Gaudiamus. A break to Iverahane as they make the descent now to take them for the turn into the straight. Just over half a mile to go in the Darley Irish Oaks, and it is Four Sins who's showing in front. All My Lovin' on the inside, Profound Beauty makes ground the outside. Then comes Light Shift, Athenian Way weakens. They're being followed by Timar with Peeping Fawn just in behind. Racing round the turn now to swing into the straight. In the lead is Four Sins from in second All My Loving. They're being followed by Profound Beauty. Light Shift makes ground, then Peeping Fawn getting closer on the outside of Tamarwa. Four Sins is the leader from All My Loving. Light Shift coming there, being tracked all the time by Peeping Fawn, who's coming there on the outside. Racing down now to the final furlong, and Light Shift, the Epsom winner, is taken on by Peeping Fawn and Johnny Murtha, who sweep to the front now, and Peeping Fawn is racing right away now as they race inside the last 200 yards. A chance ride for Johnny Murtha is going to land the Darley Irish Oaks in tremendous style as Peeping Fawn gains her revenge over Light Shift. Peeping Fawn wins for Johnny Murtha, Aidan O'Brien. Light Shift second, All My Lovin', Tamarwa and Profound Beauty.
Peeping Fawn obviously putting herself right into the middle of the 3-year-old filly picture here with consecutive victories, one in the Pretty Polly, then right back in the Irish Oaks a couple of weeks later after having run second in the sister stake to this at Epsom earlier in the season. Peeping Fawn for Aidan O'Brien makes a solid move from just off the pace to pick up the victory over Light Shift, another one who has been very strong. This one the winner of the Oaks at Epsom. All My Loving, again a prominent 3-year-old filly, settling for third. Peeping Fawn under Johnny Murtaugh for Aidan O'Brien completes the 1.5 miles at the Curragh in 2 minutes 39 flat. We're going to pause now for a brief message, and when we return, we'll be taking a look at a host of stakes racing action from Royal Ascot. Please stay with us. Welcome back to this international edition of Horses and Courses. Of course, one of the highlights of the European racing season is Royal Ascot, run every year during the middle of June, and a tremendous season this year at Royal Ascot. We're going to show you some of the highlighted stakes from that event, beginning with the Group 2 King's Stand Stakes for sprinters going in the about distance of 5 furlongs, a huge international field. Let's head back to the middle of June, Royal Ascot, the King's Stand.
Stand by, and they're off racing. King Orkisios away fairly well, so too Dandy Man towards the near side. Racing quickly on the far side, Morehouse Lad along with Desert Lord over there. They are scorching the grass, and there are a couple of lengths clear then from Dazed and Amazed on the far side, and Magnus is racing quickly. Miss Andretti about 4 or 5 lengths off them on the far side, and then down the centre, Takeover Target. Dandy Man is racing all alone towards the stand side, chased by Manzilla on the stand side. Meanwhile, coming down the centre, Tax Free Show Speed with Pivotal Point and then Ben Bourne as they race inside the final 2 furlongs now. Magnus strikes the front on the far side for Australia and followed by his compatriot Miss Andretti putting in a big run. Take over Target 2 coming into the fray. Dandy Man on the near side. Miss Andretti is quicken up well from Magnus. Dandy Man and Take Over Target trying to come at the mare, but Miss Andretti, the queen of Australian sprinting, wins the King Stand in tremendous style. Dandy Man is just second ahead of Magnus in third.
Miss Andretti up from Australia. We'd seen her in a couple of our earlier editions of the International Horses and Courses, just running beautifully down in Australia, and here prominent throughout. Very strong effort here under Craig Newitt for trainer Lee Friedman to pick up this victory at the age of 6. This international traveler just continues to move solidly, going back and forth between Australia and Great Britain. Not the easiest thing to do, but a tremendous victory for Miss Andretti and for her native Australia. Dandy Man running well to finish second, with another Australian, Magnus, completing the order of the top 3. Miss Andretti for Lee Friedman, very impressive under Craig Newitt, covering the about distance of 5 furlongs in a new course record time, 57 2/5 seconds. We'll head right back to Royal Ascot now in the St. James Palace Stakes. This, of course, a Group 1 event, the about distance of 1 mile. Some of the best milers in Europe going to line up facing the starter. Let's head back to Royal Ascot in the St. James Palace.
And they're off, racing for the St. James's Palace, grabbing hold and crossing behind Excellent Aunt early. And Jack Jr. is adopting the role of pacemaker, although Duke of Marmalade is coming through to ensure that the pace is certainly reasonable. Krakatoa races in 3rd place, and Duke of Marmalade's intent on making this a solid test, and has gone on to lead by a length from Jack Jr. in 2nd place. Astronomer Royal doing enough to hold the fence from Krakatoa, who races in 4th place, just holding Dutch Art 3 wide at this stage. He's a Decoy is actually 4 wide. Cockney Rebels settled 1 from the back at this stage, as He's a Decoy is just nudged along, and the rear of the field is Excellent Art as they make their way uphill. Duke of Marmalade, having got to the front, still being urged along by a length or so from Jack Jr. Astronomer Royal races in 3rd place with Dutch Art in 4th, and between the pair Krakatoa in white with a central stripe. Black cap of Cockney Rebel on the inside of He's a Decoy, and last of all is Excellent Art as they begin this turn that'll carry them back towards home. Duke of Marmalade still being encouraged along in front, leads by a length from Jack Jr. Astronomer Royal comes next. In 4th place is Dutch Art from Krakatoa, still waiting He's a Decoy. Likewise Cockney Rebel under a patient ride, manoeuvred towards the outside. Excellent Art improves up towards the fence. Duke of Marmalade still the one to catch. From in second, Jack Jr. Cockney Rebel pull towards the outside. Dutch Art and also Excellent Art begin challenges. Up in front, Duke of Marmalade. Dutch Art makes a good move to come and join in. Also Astronomer Royal. Here's Cockney Rebel down the outside amongst horses. Excellent Art far side, Duke of Marmalade. Cockney Rebel is hanging over to the near side. Excellent Art bursts through on the far side. Excellent Art. Cockney Rebel won't run straight up to the line. Excellent Art will go on and score. Excellent Art beat Duke of Marmalade. Tight for third, Astronomer Royal with Dutch Art. Cockney Rebel spoiled his chances by hanging left, and they were away from Krakatoa.
Excellent Art and Jamie Spencer, very impressive, rallying from off the pace in an interesting race. A number of the milers this year have kind of traded roles, winning different races. The horse that a lot of people were very interested in here was Cockney Rebel. Cockney Rebel had been very impressive in the Guineas earlier in the season. Unfortunately, suffered an injury during the running of the race, came out of the race with a stress fracture to his pelvis. But in the meanwhile, Excellent Art, who was held up back behind horses in the early going, made a very solid run on the rail from about 2 furlongs out to make a huge bid to pick up the win over Duke of Marmalade, with Astronomer Royal, an American bred, finishing in the 3rd spot for Aidan O'Brien, who of course trains Excellent Art. Jamie Spencer aboard. Excellent Art covers the about distance of 1 mile in 1 minute 39 and 1. We'll head right back to Royal Ascot now in the running of the Queen Anne Stakes. Again, a Group 1 run in the middle of June on the 19th at the about distance of 1 mile for 4-year-olds and up. Let's head back to Royal Ascot and the Queen Anne.
And they're off. Racing in the Queen Anne Stakes, Notability away well in the white cap to the near side and joined by stable companion Ramonti. Godolphin 1 and 2, Notability racing slightly apart from the others. George Washington taking a very firm tug on the far side under Mick Cannan in the dark blue jacket, just preceded by Turtle Bowl. Then in the purple with the white cap, Rassinger, Cesare the near side in red, white sash, blue cap, Jeremy, and just the back marker is the filly Red Evie under Jamie Spencer. Through the first 2.5 furlongs, Ramonti spearheads the field by a length and a half to Turtle Bowl. The near side is Notability. George Washington towards the far side then from Rassinger, followed by Cesare. Jeremy is second last and still last. Seeing the field is Red Evie as they race down to the halfway stage. Still the ex-Italian horse Ramonti leads the way under Frankie Dettori here, passing the halfway stage in the Queen Anne. Tracked in second by Turtle Bowl. Then Notability to the right, George Washington, the dark blue jacket. The far side, Jeremy, is making headway now in green. Rassinger, Cesare, and finally Red Evie as they race inside the last 2.5 furlongs now. Frankie gets to work on Ramonti, Jeremy the far side, then Turtle Bowl. George Washington is now asked some questions, and Red Evie begins to close, but it's Jeremy that's quickened up the best from Ramonti, then Turtle Bowl, then Red Evie. George Washington struggling to find anything. They race inside the final furlong. Jeremy is drifted over to the far rail. Ramonti, Turtle Bow down the centre. George Washington now begins to pick up very late. It's Jeremy, reeled by Ramonti, and George Washington tight. Ramonti maybe, Jeremy far side. Then in between them, George Washington and Turtle Bowl.
Ramonti picking up the win here for Frankie Dettori, Saeed Bin Suror and the Godolphin team, leading soon out of the behind the stands, the gate, and picked up the very easy victory here. Hard-fought effort though for him through the lane. Towards the rear early was Jeremy, made a huge move late but was not quite able to get there. Turtle Bowl picks up the third spot. Also worth noting in this race, and it kind of an interestingly run race, they bunched up very tight throughout most of the going. George Washington making his return to the races after having tried a season at stud, interestingly enough, heads back to the races for the Coolmore operation. This was his return race. He finished fourth, not a bad effort considering, although clearly he was favored by the public, so we'll have to see if he's able to continue to move forward off this performance. Nonetheless, a very nice effort from Ramonti to pick up the win in Group 1 company at the age of 5. Ramonti, under Frankie Dettori, completes the about distance of 1 mile in 1 minute 37 and 1. We're going to remain at Royal Ascot now, head back to the middle of June and the running of the Windsor Forest Stakes, a Group 2 $250,000 stakes event for fillies and mares at the about distance of 1 mile. Let's return to Royal Ascot and the Windsor Forest.
Just about all set. Restless was Gwen Seb in stall 4, just thrashing around a bit, and they're off. Gwen Seb and Satwa Queen a little awkward, and Flashy Wings was slowest away from the stalls, and there's no great pace on through the first furlong. Wasima in the blue and white spearheads the formation from Sabana Perdida in the red and black colours. The white cap of Echelon towards the outside with Expensive, and the white face of Gwen Seb. Settled back amongst horses at the moment is Nanina in the blue cap, Satwa Queen still towards the tail. Farn is also towards the rear of the field with Flashy Wings as they make their way up through the first couple of furlongs. Wasima continuing to cut out the running by a length from Sabana Perdida on the outside of Expensive in the orange colours. Nanina in the centre of the chasing trio with Echelon the white cap towards the left, and then towards the inside Gwen Seb, who's being kneeled along even at this early stage. Fan towards the back with also Satwa Queen and Flashy Wings, who's recovered much of the ground lost at the start as they make their way now down past halfway. And Wasima continues to show from Sabana Perdida, disputing second place with Expensive. Nanina and Echelon still side by side for the Cheveley Park stud. Then comes Farn. Gwen Seb's never really been travelling, bustled along. Then Satwa Queen. A bunching match there as Sabana Perdida pushed Nanina into Echelon. All of a sudden the race begins to develop. Nanina's got to the front, travelling strongly. In second place Wasima, then Satwa Queen as they go inside inside the final furlong and a half. It's Nanina by a length and a half. From Echelon digging in the far side, then Flashy Wings and Satwa Queen. Nanina is set alight, goes 2 to 3 lengths clear from Satwa Queen. Sabana Perdita, despite hanging over to the far rail, Nanina is still 3 to 4 lengths clear, and last year's Coronation Heroine will follow up in the Windsor Forest decisively. Nanina beats Satwa Queen. Sabana Perdita was third, Fan was fourth, Echelon fifth.
Nanina, a very nice effort from Nanina, tracking the early pace, the early going, quickening sharply at about a furlong out, and driving to win over Satwa Queen, a familiar face to Americans. She has been to the United States. In fact, she is a French-based world traveler. She's been to Dubai, she's been to the United States, and arrives at Royal Ascot and finishes a good second. Sabana Perdita finishing in the third spot. Nanina, at the age of 4, is now a group winner at 2, 3, and 4 for trainer John Gosden. Rider Jimmy Fortune, rather. She completes the Windsor Forest Stakes, the about distance of 1 mile in 1 minute 40 and 3. Remaining at Royal Ascot next up, the Prince of Wales Stakes. Again, a Group 1 event over $682,000 in American value, 1.25 miles for older horses. Let's head back to Royal Ascot and the running of the Prince of Wales.
Giro just wide of Cato, then Dylan Thomas out wide. Red Rocks is tucked away up the inside, the horse with the white face, and Pressing is the back marker. But pressing on in front is Sir Percy. Gallops into a 2.5 length lead now over Not Now Cato as they begin the run round Swinley Bottom. About to meet the rising ground. Back in third is Manduro. Dylan Thomas is fourth. And then out the back, Red Rocks held up together with Pressing. Racing inside the last 7 furlongs. And Sir Percy, who's being ridden quite aggressively here from Not Now Cato in second place, inside the 6 now. Manduro is back in third, then Dylan Thomas in fourth, Pressing, and finally Frankie Dettori sees the field on Red Rocks. But he'd be a good 8 lengths off the leader as they continue to climb towards the home turn. Inside the last 4.5 furlongs, still Sir Percy by 2.5 lengths to Not Now Cato in second place. A similar margin back to Manduro in third, then Dylan Thomas, and still no move from Red Rocks or Pressing at the rear of the field. They're about to swing into the final turn with just over 3 furlongs left to cover. Can Sir Percy keep it up here? Not Now Cato draws a little closer in second, then Manduro. Dylan Thomas travels well. Red Rocks up the inside and Pressing. Now they're homeward bound, just over 2 furlongs to cover. Sir Percy about to be tackled by Not Now Cato and Manduro, and wider out by Dylan Thomas. Red Rocks under the whip, and then Pressing. Manduro quickens up ahead of Dylan Thomas, and these two battle on together, chased by Not Now Cato and Red Rocks as they race inside the final furlong. The French horse Manduro is holding Dylan Thomas at the moment. There's 3/4 of a length between them, and it's still Manduro. Manduro is beating off Dylan Thomas, and Manduro wins the Prince of Wales' Stakes from Dylan Thomas. Not Now Cato some way back in third, followed by Red Rocks.
Manduro, very impressive. He is German-owned by Georg von Ullmann, French-based, trained by Andre Fabre. Ran an absolutely huge race to pick up a win over a short field, but a very good field. Horses like Dylan Thomas and Not Now Cato, Red Rocks, winner of last year's Breeders' Cup Turf, Sir Percy, the winner of last year's Derby at Epsom. A very good group of horses in here, and Manduro moves himself into the upper echelon of European older competition with this victory for trainer Andre Fabre. Young rider Stéphane Pasquier aboard as Manduro picks up the victory at Royal Ascot, the about distance of 9 furlongs, covered in 2:05 and 4. We're going to continue now with racing action at Royal Ascot. We'll take a look next at the running of the Ribblesdale Stakes. This a Group 2 event, $277,000 for 3 and up fillies and mares going 1.5 miles. Again, the about distance here, and we'll join the Ribblesdale in progress.
Downhill then, about to swing right-handed, and Majune Song leading the way, followed by Lost in Wonder second. Party is back in third on the inside. Fourth, disputing fourth, is All My Loving with Cosmodrome, and Shorthand is running the rail. Then in midfield, Races Hanging On in the red cap, followed by Silkwood, followed by Marceline and Dalvina, Fascinating Rhythm, Baroness, Richter the tail, and about 12 lengths off the pace. Running now inside the final 6.5 furlongs in the Ribblesdale, and Majune Song Song, with pedal to the metal here by 2.5 lengths to Lost in Wonder in second. Party is back in third. He's just niggling a bit on the favourite, All My Loving. She looks a little bit flat-footed at this stage, followed by Shorthand. Cosmodrome is next. Hard Driven is hanging on. Silkwood now beginning to make some headway from the rear as they raced inside the 5, followed by Dalvina, Marceline, Fascinating Rhythm, Baroness, Richter. Heading down towards the final half mile in the home turn, and it's still Majune Song that leads the way. The Royal Filly Lost in Wonder in second place. Back on the inside third is Party. All My Loving has made it hard work so far in fourth place, still being pushed along, followed by Shorthand, Cosmodrome. Running very wide but making good headway is Silkwood, the maroon with the white sleeves. Dalvina behind these, now being scrubbed up, but Majune Song has kicked away. Running down inside the 2. Silkwood has got there very readily, but will she see it out? They're inside the final furlong and a half, and Silkwood comes through to take over from Majune Song. All My Loving stays on one pace with Dalvina. Silkwood just drifting off a true line. She's hanging away to the left. Maybe she's getting weary, but she's nicely ahead. All My Loving stamina comes into play, but too late, and Silkwood is stretching clear and is way too good. Silkwood wins the Ribblesdale. All My Loving second, Dalvina third, Baroness Richter from nowhere for fourth.
Silkwood picking up the win here in a little bit of an upset victory here at about 4-1. Fairly aggressive in the early going towards the outside and in the back of the pack under Philip Robinson, chasing the leader until about the 2 furlong pole when she was asked to quicken up a little bit. Here gets the win over All My Loving, a 3-year-old filly who has done very well against some very solid company indeed, with Dalvina back in the third spot. Daughter of Singspiel, Silkwood picks up the victory for Michael Jarvis and Philip Robinson, covering the about distance of 1.5 miles in 2 minutes 30.1. Next up, the historic Ascot Gold Cup, the 200th running thereof. This Group 1 event at the about distance of 2.5 miles will join the Ascot Gold Cup in progress.
They begin the descent past the 1.5 mile start. Lord Asud leading the Gold Cup by 1.5 lengths. Tungsten Strike back now in second place with the last drop in third. Finalmente races in fourth place, just ahead of Montare and Limeracla racing in fifth and sixth. And then comes Allegretto in the red, white and blue. No move yet from Yates, who's in about 8th place at this stage, with Badam, Cherry Mix, Sergeant Cecil on the inside of Bulwark. Rising Cross and Still Geordieland is last of all as they've made their way down the side of the course and prepare to enter the final 10 furlongs. So approaching the halfway stage, and it's Lord Dasud who continues to lead from Tungsten Strike, who's back to within 1/2 length in second place. The last drop races in third, ahead of Finalmente racing in fourth place. Then in fifth is Montare with Limeracla racing in sixth, and then comes Allegretto. Cherry Mix got a little bit lit up on the descent and is now just pauses. Yates is still 1 place ahead of him with Bulwark on that horse's outside in about 8th or 9th place. Sergeant Cecil comes next. Badam just precedes those with Rising Cross and Geordieland as they turn at the far end and now begin this steady climb that'll take them inside the last mile of the Gold Cup. Lord Dasud has made every single yard of the running. Tungsten Strike has always been his shadow and races in second. The last drops in third as once again they just try and increase the pace slightly. Finalmente's in fourth as they pass the 6. Limeracla for the first time. Yates begins to make a move. Up on the outside stylishly into 5th place. Badam and Cherry Mix try to cover that move. Sergeant Cecil just a little trapped away on the inside as they pass the 5, and the leaders now begin to jockey for position. The big guns primed to pull the trigger as they make their way now up towards the turn back towards home and the final 4.5. Lord Dasud, Tungsten Strike's rider, niggles along. Yates continues to travel very well just on the heels of Finalmente and the last drop. Then comes Montare, Badam down the outside, Cherry Mix and Allegretto. Sergeant Cecil manoeuvred out to get a clear sight of some daylight as they begin the turn back towards home. Yates travels up very strongly to come now and press Lord Dasud, the last drop. Cherry Mix is asked for an effort with Tungsten Strike. Sergeant Cecil's poorly positioned as Yates goes for home. Over 2 out, it's Yates who leads by a couple of lengths from Lord Dasud. Then back in third is Limeracla. Geordieland stays on stoutly. Yates going inside the final furlong. Geordieland and Limeracla, however,
however, are closing on him as they go inside the last. All of a sudden, Yates has a battle as Geordie Land goes towards the far side. Yates weaving around in front, but has too many guns for them. Too much class. Back-to-back Gold Cups. Yates wins by a length and a half. Geordie Land was second. Le Miracle, a mighty race for Germany in third. Finalmente next from Montare, and Sergeant Cecil.
Yates picking up the win for the second consecutive year in this test of stamina, covering the good to firm going. In fact, the going was listed as good to firm, good in places. And Yates held up in the middle of the pack, as is often in his running style under Mick Kinnan, straightens away and starts to kick clear, comes into command at about the 2 furlong pole or so, and picks up the win from Geordie Land with Le Miracle, a German invader, at the age of 6, back in the third spot. Yates is a 6-year-old, again, consecutive victories in the historic Ascot Gold Cup for Aidan O'Brien and Mick Kinnan, covering the distance of 2.5 miles in 4 minutes 20 and 3. We're going to pause for one more brief message, and when we return, we'll be wrapping things up from Royal Ascot and heading into a couple of other prominent British meets. Please stay with us. Welcome back to International Horses and Courses. I'm Jean Wood. We're going to continue by wrapping things up with Royal Ascot's Midsummer, Mid-June meeting. A couple of stakes remaining, including the Coronation Stakes. This a Group 1 for 3-year-old fillies at the about distance of 1 mile. Let's return to Royal Ascot and the Coronation.
And they're off, racing in the Coronation Stakes. A pretty level break, out fairly well. Scarlet Runner towards the wide outside is the German filly Me Emma, and now driving up the inside Cherry Hinton to adopt a front running role along with Scarlet Runner. Me Emma third, Dargina in the green jacket in fourth, with up the inside Arch Swing in a red cap about fifth. Out wider is Finchgale Bio, followed by Rahir in a white cap, and Yakin is the fence. Indian Ink is parked a bit wide then of Miss Vinsky and Silk Blossom, with Puggy towards the rear and Majestic Roy just about the back marker. And there'll be about 8 or 10 lengths to cover them as they race towards the halfway stage inside the 5. Cherry Hinton still holds sway narrowly to Scarlet Runner. In the noseband, Dargina shadows the front pair. Out wider is Me Emma. In behind those wide is Finchgale Bio, followed by Rahir. Arch Swing right round the inside, followed round in the blue and white jacket by Yakin as they begin the turn in. Further back is Silk Blossom and Mizinski, and then Indian Ink, who's still a bit off the pace, followed by Puggy, and Majestic Roy looks on. Inside the 3 in the Coronation Stakes, Cherry Hinton is now wound up from the front. Scarlet Runner going with her. Dargina coming there strongly. Then Arch Swing, look to the right. Finchgale Bio is coming there very strongly, being held on to today. Me Emma right there in the mix as well, and they're now grouping together. Indian Ink with a good chance as well inside the final furlong and a half. Scarlet Runner, Me Emma, Dargina. Indian Ink has come there swinging. Finchgale Bio finding little. Then Majestic Roy from the rear, but Indian Ink now sets sail for home and scampers clear in deeply impressive fashion. Indian Ink strolls it. Indian Ink by 5 or 6. Tight second, Me Emma and Dargina, with Arch Swing back in fourth.
Indian Ink, who really relished what became quite soft going. The day of this race, it did begin to rain rather heavily, softening up the surface quite nicely. And a horse like Indian Ink, who went off at a final price of about 8-1, certainly relishing the going, making a huge rallying move to pick up the win over German invader Me Emma, with the French runner Dargina back in the third spot. A little disappointing in here at a price of 10-3. A horse that a lot of people were very heavy on was Finchal Abeo, who unfortunately did not seem to take all that well to that softer course, and was not quite able to run up to her Guineas form from earlier in the season. But Indian Ink, very impressive over the softer surface. For Richard Hannon and Richard Hughes as trainer and rider, covering the about distance of 1 mile, again on a surface labeled good to soft in 1 minute 42 and 1. We'll head right back to Royal Ascot now in the Golden Jubilee. This one at the about distance of 6 furlongs. Again, older sprinters going to assemble at the end of the meeting. We'll return to Royal Ascot now and the Golden Jubilee.
Fair Jag is in, we're all set. And they're off and racing. And from the stalls, Wes Andretti is well away and is one of those that's prominent on the far side in company with Borderless Scott. Magnus is another one that is racing quite prominently. Little group towards the middle. Appalachian Trail, Rising Shadow and Fair Drag are that trio as Hamoudi tracks over towards the far side as they make their way through the first furlong. To take over target, Magnus, the Australian runners show the way just ahead of Asset. Soldier's Tail is racing handily with Miss Andretti in about 5th or 6th. Assertive pushed along from Hamoudi. Also in that little group is Amadeus Wolf. Over towards the far side is Red Clubs with Drayton. The three on the stand side are struggling at the moment. They're headed by Fair Jag as they make their way down with 2.5 to run. Take over target, Asset, and then on the far side Magnus with Red Clubs. Borderless Scott comes next. Miss Andretti being nudged along just behind the leaders and is flat to the boards. It's take over target for Australia, who leads with 1.5 furlongs to go from Red Clubs, who's throwing down a challenge. A mighty race by Drayton between the pair. The pale blue colours of Asset. It's Red Clubs who leads from take over target. Soldier's Tail in the orange colours, and Asset take over target. Digging back in, has got back past Red Clubs. Soldier's Tail is coming hard. Take over target and Soldier's Tail go for the line together. Soldier's Tail on the near side. Take over target on the far side.
Soldier's Tail, a little bit of an upset here at 9-1 over Takeover Target, who would run up the track. Another one of the Australians who would run up the track in the King's Stand Stakes, this time improving his finish to a good second. Asset finishing in the third spot. A little disappointing in this sprint was Miss Andretti, who had been so good in the prep for this race. The King's Stand only a few days prior, returning on very short rest. In fact, the King's Stand was on the 19th, the Golden Jubilee on the 23rd, so it was only 4 days rest after the trip from Australia may have been the undoing of Miss Andretti, who raced keenly in the early going before backing out of it. Soldier's Tail, who broke very alertly, got into the prominent group and stayed on very strongly through the final strides. He had opened at 16-1, dropped down to 9-1 to pick up his victory. For trainer Jeremy Nocita, rider Johnny Murtaugh, Soldier's Tail, an American bred, picks up the Group 1 Golden Jubilee at Royal Ascot in 1:14 and 2. We're going to stay in Great Britain and head to Sandown and the running on the 7th of July of the Coral Eclipse Stakes. This a Group 1 for older horses at the about distance of 1.25 miles. Let's head to Sandown and the Coral Eclipse.
And ready. They're off. Racing then with Authorised just slowest away from the stall. Champery leads, Yellowstone and also Archipenko both going through with him, and they're forced through to chase Champery, who leads up by a length to Yellowstone, who's the inside of Archipenko. 3 lengths further back behind these is Not Now Cato. Then Candidate from Admiral of the Fleet, and then George Washington, and Authorised sits last as they complete the first 2 furlongs. Now the two that really raced up to get Champery going have angled back now, and Champery suddenly left 10 lengths clear of the others. He's setting the pace for Authorized, who's the back marker. In second place, just about, is Not Now Cato in the yellow jacket. Ryan Moore's taken him up on the outside with the white cap Archer Penko and the dark blue cap of Yellowstone, and now back in third and fourth places. Admiral of the Fleet is behind those, then Candidate. Authorized has passed George Washington as they prepare to leave the back straight. Joe Fanning has settled down in front on Champrey, letting the others catch him up as they make the turn towards home in this Coral Eclipse. Not Now Cato is in second place. Yellowstone is in third on the inside. Admiral of the Fleet making progress on the outer from Archer Penko, and then comes Candidate. Authorized last but one. George Washington the back marker as they head down the straight. And Champery with Not Now Cato. Ryan Moore bringing him towards the stand side. In third place then comes with the Admiral of the Fleet. Not Now Cato. Ryan Moore coming right towards the stand side. Authorized is making progress down the centre of the track. Admiral of the Fleet is with him. George Washington tracks those. Yellowstone is still there. Candidate is just in behind those. Authorized is under pressure now as Not Now Cato comes down the stand side inside the final furlong. Authorized under pressure, staying on. George Washington behind him, heading up towards the line. Not Now Cato the stand side. Authorized the far side. George Washington between them. They head towards the line. Not Now Cato has won it to Authorized George Washington in Yellowstone.
Not Now Cato turning the tails on a couple of horses in the older horse division here to pick up the victory. When this guy is right, he will often run a very sharp race and typically at a very good price. He was 7-1 here despite having run what I thought was a quite credible third in his prior start. Here he was taking on the recent winner of the Epsom Derby, Authorized under Frankie Dettori for Peter Chappell-Hyam. He looked very strong coming into this race. He was favored in the betting and finished second. George Washington stretching out a little bit in distance and improving his finish off of his return race going the flat mile. Ran what I thought was a much better performance to finish in the third spot. Not Now Cato for Sir Michael Stout, and Ryan Moore picks up the victory in the historic Coral Eclipse on a surface labeled good to soft in 2:05 and 4. We're going to head right back to Newmarket now, and the Darley July Cup. This at the about distance of 6 furlongs, about $750,000 worth of purse money is available. Let's return to Newmarket for the July Cup.
They're all in. Gates crash back and they're away. Helvellyn jumped a little awkwardly. Dandy Man is fast out in the centre. Drayton is also showing good speed, and Asset is well to the fore through the first furlong. Drayton leads Dandy Man, who's pulling very hard. Prime Defender's prominent on the near side with Borderless Scott. They're being tracked by Electric Beat. Also on the stand side is Prime Defender. Saki's Secret with the white stripe on the face from Amadeus Wolf and Sander Camillo. Over on the far side, Asset tracks the pace with Dutch Art. Mutawaji towards the outside. Bentley Biscuit in midfield with a white face as Drayton leads them on down towards halfway. Drayton by a length from Dandy Man and Prime Defender. Borderless Scott, Mutawajid is in 5th place. Amadeus Wolf, then Saki's Secret, Dutch Art towards the far side. Bentley Biscuits also being produced now with a challenge as well as they go down inside the final two. Drayton being pressed now by Dandy Man. Bentley Biscuit on the far side with Mutawajid. Red Clubs and Helvellyn try to join in. Saki's Secret begins a run now on the stand side with Amadeus Wolf. They climb for the line. Saki's Secret moving powerfully with Red Clubs. Over on the far side is Marchand d'Or. Saki's Secret won't run in a straight line, still just in front from Dutch Art, who's thundering home, but it's Saki's Secret driven out towards the line, who wins the July Cup from Dutch Art, Red Clubs, Marchand d'Or and Dandy Man.
Saki's Secret, a horse that's kind of come up through conditions, gets the win here. A little bit of a different type of a horse than some that we have seen, where typically in Europe horses in the major yards are essentially tracked as good horses, poorer horses. But this guy had run in a few lesser races and kind of come up through handicaps into the highest echelon of the sprinting division with this victory over Dutch Art with Red Clubs, an Irish-bred invader. Held up late, held up in the early going, rallying late, but not quite enough to match the top finisher. Saki's Secret in here for Huey Morrison and Steve Drown. Pick up the 9-2 victory at the about distance of 6 furlongs in a quick 1:10 and 3. We have one further race to bring to you. We're going to return to Ascot, not the Royal Ascot meeting, but Ascot Racecourse nonetheless, for the running at the end of July on the 28th of the King George and Queen Elizabeth Diamond Stakes. This is a Group 1, $1.5 million event for the older horses at the about distance of 1.5 miles. Let's head to Ascot now and the King George.
And they're off. Racing in the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes, and just missing the start slightly was Marahel. Prince Florey away well with Scorpion to the outside, and it's Scorpion and Mick Cannan that go into an early lead here, followed by Prince Florey in second. Marahel is third. Then back in fourth is Laverock, with Dylan Thomas to the outside of Youmzain, and slightly detached in the early stages to the tune of 3 or 4 lengths is Sergeant Cecil as they run down the back straight, down the hill towards Swinley Bottom. Scorpion leading the way. It's not a really fast pace by any manner of means here. Mick Cannan just stealing a half glance there to see where the others are. He's got Prince Florey and Jimmy Fortune on his inside as they race through the shadows at the bottom end of the course. Marahel is third, recovering from that tardy break, followed out wide by Dylan Thomas in the dark blue jacket. Laverock is back on the inside then, and then towards the rear finally Youmzain, and lastly in the familiar black and yellow jacket Sergeant Cecil. They swing right-handed out of Swinley Bottom and now inside the final 7 furlongs, and Scorpion injects a bit of pace into the race now from Prince Florey in second. Marahel with a good sit now going up on the outside of the German horse to chase the leader. Then Laverock, Dylan Thomas within 3 or 4 lengths of the pace, followed by Youmzain and Sergeant Cecil at the rear of the field. They're climbing all the way now towards the final 5 furlongs, and Scorpion has made it all so far. Marahel, though, is breathing down his neck. Prince Florey still very handy on the inside, and these two both attacking the leader. A pincer movement. Prince Florey the inside of Scorpion. The outside of Scorpion is Marahel. Then in 4th place is Laverock. Dylan Thomas coming there strongly as they race round the final turn. Scorpion has beaten off Prince Florey, but Marahel is still right there within a neck. Dylan Thomas comes 3 wide then of Laverock and Prince Florey. Behind these Youmzain being wound up and Sergeant Cecil under the whip. They're homeward bound with just over 2 furlongs to go, and Marahel strikes the front from Scorpion. Dylan Thomas, though, is cantering in behind the leader. Then races Laverock. Youmzain going pretty well as well as they stretch now for the final furlong and a half, and Dylan Thomas is set sail for the judge, chased by Youmzain and Marahel outpaced. Then Laverock inside the final furlong. Dylan Thomas by 2.5 lengths to Youmzain. It's Dylan Thomas stretching away, striding clear in the King George in impressive fashion, and Dylan Thomas wins well. In second Youmzain, third Marahel, Laverock is fourth, then came Scorpion.
Dylan Thomas again this time turning the tables and picking up the victory over Youmzain, who had missed a couple of the previous races for the older division here, but he ended up with a solid second place finish. But Dylan Thomas, when he is right, is a very, very good horse. Seems to prefer a little bit firmer going. He is a very big horse. He does not necessarily quicken as well as some European types do, but he does seem to have a great deal of stamina, and here ran what I thought was a very sharp effort, taking a solid hold early with Johnny Murtaugh and gaining command rather handily over Youmzain with Marahel, who was a little slow into the race, finishing third. The winner, Dylan Thomas, for the Aidan O'Brien yard. Johnny Murtaugh up, covers the about distance of 1.5 miles at Ascot in 2:31 flat. That'll wrap up this international edition of Horses and Courses. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed the program and will be able to join us once again a little bit later on in the year as we take a look at more great international racing. Until then, I'm Jean Wood. Good luck at the races.